Okay, so let's wait for the people to come in. Okay, so let's wait for one more minute. Okay, so in the morning I informed that I'll be handling hackathon problems in the afternoon class, but due to some reasons we have postponed it to tomorrow in the afternoon, the same product batch session. So the reason is that we have stepped into the functions concepts where you would come across pass by value, pass by address, and pass by reference. Okay, so we wanted to clarify some things about these topics. Okay, so they what we have planned is for tomorrow. I'll create a separate link, and you will find that hands-on practical session with an exclusive hackathon, link. Okay, that will be created tomorrow, and I'll be sharing it to you. Okay, so for today, let us stick on to today's concept, that is today's content. I thought of doing this today, but bear with me. I'm sorry. Tomorrow in the afternoon class, definitely we'll be solving those hackathon problems. Okay, so all the problems, whatever we could fit in tomorrow's session, definitely I'll be sharing it with you. Okay, so for today, we will be solving problems based on this particular concept, that is functions, pass by value extensively. Okay, so as informed, without any going back, tomorrow definitely 100% sure, I can promise you that the hackathon problem, because many students requested. Okay, so that is the reason we thought of doing it today, but due to some reasons we have postponed it tomorrow. Okay, so I suppose you can accept that and you can trust in me, and I will do it definitely tomorrow in the afternoon class. Okay, don't worry about it. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have told you in the morning session that I would be doing in the afternoon. Okay, so as planned, we will go with a session for today, which is based on, okay, so Charles Samuel, when using functions, does it reduce the time taken to execute? That's a very good question. No, no, not at all. Using modular programming language uh, cannot increase the speed of the execution. But in rare case scenarios, you might find a very small amount of fraction of time where it slows down your program, or you will not find any change at all in terms of speed. And the reason is due to the no the approach of the programming language. Okay, let me give an example with C programming language. Let's say, okay, normally you would have heard about the problem Adam number, right? If I would have written Adam number, normally what you would have done, number, and then reminder, and then what we'll do, square number. Just a minute, I've already done this. Okay, I'll just tell you the program. So number, square number, reverse number, and then square of reverse number, and then reverse of square of reverse number. I would like to just give you an example. So this was initially 0, and reverse number is initially 0, correct? And then the next step, what we will do, we will get the number from the user just quickly. Okay, just bear with me. And comma ampersand of number. After storing it, what we will do is we will find the square number. What is square number? Equals to number into number. Yes, which is 144. Imagine I'm giving the number, assume that the number is 12. Okay, and after 142 will reverse the number, right? So for that we'll go while of the given number, and then reminder equals to, or just directly reverse number equals to the previous value of reverse number into 10 plus reminder. So reminder is nothing but number modulo 10. Okay, that's it. Then what we'll do, as usual, divide the number by 10. Okay, this is what we'll do, and just some more steps. Okay, now we have found the reverse number, and after finding the reverse number, we will square the reverse number. So square of reverse number equals to reverse number into reverse number. Okay, which is 21 into 21. Okay, 21 into 21 is 441. In the meantime, let me check the comments here. Okay, now I'll tell you the difference here. 1 minute. Okay, now Charles, this question is especially for you, so please carefully listen. Okay, now 441. Then what I'll do, I would like to reverse 441. How? While of square of a reverse number. While of square of reverse number, and now I'm going to store it in square of, that is reverse of square of reverse number equals to reverse of square of reverse number into 10 plus square of reverse number modulo 10. Okay, completed. And as usual, square of reverse number divide by equals to 10. And at last, coming outside, I'll compare if square of number equals to reverse of square of reverse number. If this is true, immediately we'll say printf it is Adam number. Okay, if it is not, else we'll say not an Adam number. Okay, now focus. Now focus, please. Run this. Okay, now 12. It says 12 is an Adam number, and 13, as you know, 13 reverse of 13, 31, 31 square is 116 and 961 respectively. It is an Adam number. Now, what happens is when I would like to segregate it as functions, what are all the modules available here? What are all the operations? What are all the modules you can segregate separately? One is square function, and the other is reverse function. I would like to create it separately. So in that case, this would not exist. Okay, focus. So let me create a function integer square of how many arguments will square function receive? Only one argument, right? So integer, a number, a variable, an integer variable. So when you pass one argument as a parameter, what should it return? It should return the square of it, number into number. So whoever calls a function by passing an integer value, it will return it by multiplying with itself, the square of the number. Then I'm going to create one more function called reverse, integer reverse, and reverse will also have one argument, that is a number, an integer number. What are all the variables we need? The variables we need are integer, a variable called result. Initially it is 0. I'm going to reverse the given number. How? While of the given number, and the same process, people. A result equals to the previous value of result into 10 plus the remainder of the number, so that is number modulo 10. The same thing, and then divide the number constantly by 10. Okay, now what we can do, so now using functions, can I say it increases the speed of the program? No. Why? What it can do is that it can segregate, it can make your programs in a structured way, in a modular way, where the reusability of code is made easier now. Reusability of code, rather than typing the whole code again and again and again. Okay, just a focus. So what shall we do? I can say square of number equals, so I can call the function by passing the arguments. What is the function? Square function. What argument should I pass? Number. Now what this function as a whole will return? This will return 144. This will return 144 because you pass the number 12. What happened? This 12 will be sent as an argument. The value will be copied to this variable number. Then it will return 12 into 12, which is 144. And once the compiler goes out of this function, this memory will be deallocated and 144 will be returned to square number. So before we used to come in a waterfall model, like, say programming language is a waterfall model. No, I'm not questioning that. But the process here, before, it used to come from top to bottom in a stretch without any, ups and downs, without any, cuts and turns. But here, the moment you call this function, this parameter will be passed to this. So this will invoke the function which will execute these statements. It's a slight turn in process. That's it. I'm not telling you there's a huge difference. Maybe there's no difference at all. Okay, then what we'll do after getting 144. Now we can call the function. So this is comparatively easier instead of writing the whole code again and again and again. Now, reverse number. What is reverse number? Reverse of number. I can pass it. Okay, and it become 21. Then what is square of reverse number? Very simple. Call the function square of past 21. Who's having 21? Reverse number. Okay, who's having 21? Reverse number. What is the answer? What is the answer? That is 441. Now reverse 441. How? Reverse of square of reverse number equals to, that is reverse of square of reverse number. This will give you 145. And then now I can compare. I can say it is Adam number. Okay, what mistake did we do? Okay, so starting from square of number, we did not return the value itself. Which value should I have result? I should have returned the result. The result. See, actually, yes, thank you so much for yeah. See, actually, I can even reduce the number of lines more because we can explore the vast limitations of the advantages of a function. So it not only gives you a modular feel, it not only makes your program modular, but sometimes you can use it to your advantage to reduce the space as well. Actually, I need not have any variables here. Just number is enough. Just number is enough. Why? Now focus here, people. Now focus here. Okay. Take everything out. Okay. Now what do you want to compare? If the square of number. What is square of number? 122. 144, sorry. If it is equivalent to, if it is equivalent to reverse of, square of, reverse of the given number. That's it. So using function C, I can easily reduce the number of lines. So I can use stack to my, just let me give the value 12. It's an Adam number. So what happens? This will be assigned. This will be returned with 144. What about this? The first function which will be called is this reverse, the outer reverse. This function will be called, whereas the parameter itself is another function called. The parameters itself is another function called cascading function. So okay, now reverse is not hold. Now this reverse is in the memory of stack. And still now it did not return any value. And then the square function is called, whereas the argument of square function, cascading function, another function called, and this reverse is called. So this number will be first substituted as 12. Then this reverse will be executed, which is reverse of 12, which is 144. Sorry, that is 21. And then this function will return 441 to reverse. And finally, this function will give you 144. So how the programs are made simple. Okay, that's it. And I just ran it again. I'll just run it again. 12. It's an Adam number. So it will do not make your program faster, but there might be no difference. Sometimes it makes the program slower, slightly, not much of a difference. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. Okay, so talking about the pass by values. Okay, did you understand the pass by values there effectively? So I think the video was very good, and you can see the difference. No, they show the difference of pass by address and pass by reference, and what not to call as pass by address. When should I use the terminology, and what about pass by value? So I hope you understood it. Okay, so tell me, what questions do you have based on pass by value? So did you understand the values, how they were passed, okay, and what were the limitations of it, and what is the difference in pass by value and pass by address? Okay, now focus. So I would like to give you a small example. Okay, now focus here. Okay, so let me save this. Okay, and so the header file and standard input output dot h and main function. Okay, So when we were studying about pointers in the previous classes, that is the reason we started with pointers to give you an effective, thing. So talking about, okay, let's say I have a function and that function is nothing but swap. Okay, let's say the name of the function is swap. Okay, the name of the function is swap, and I have two variables here, integer. Okay, a comma b or n1 comma n2, whatever it is. Okay, now I want to swap these two variables. Okay, using a functions. Okay, now normally, as you all know it, I'll use scanf function, format specify d, and then format specify d, and then store it respectively in n1 and n2. Okay, now focus. Then I'm going to call the function swap. Now, when you call the function swap, what are all the arguments should I pass? As you all know, it is n1 comma n2. It is n1 comma n2. Now, as you can see, the arguments which you are receiving, that is the actual parameter. There are, according to the design of the actual parameter, you can simply see that you are receiving two arguments, and that is what we have to do. So in the formal parameter, I should declare the function with integer. I need to store the copy of n1 and I need to store the copy of n2. So I need two integer memory spaces here, right? Okay, now focus. So one is integer. See, I can have the same variable or different variables, no use, no difference at all, no error will be there. So if you want, I can have x comma y. Nobody's going to ask. It's a different universe. So it's not that if I use n2, it is not going to block. Okay, so n1. Okay, integer n1 or n2. Or my question is, if I have a function, okay, I'm calling a function, can I just directly say for swapping, can I just say integer temporary equals to n1 and then n1 equals to n2 and then n2 equals to temporary? Can I do this directly? You know it. There will be a problem. There will be a problem, and that problem is n1 and n2 is declared. So you cannot have any access to the main function. You cannot have any access to the main function at all. This variable's visibility will be only within the block. So the scope of this variable, what is the scope of this variable? The scope of this variable is only within the block. And simultaneously, when a variable is created n1, n1, n2, the scope of the variable should be only within this block. And that is the reason we are creating an extra variable to get the copy of it, n1 comma integer n2. So this n1 and n2 has a scope of within the block of swap, and this n1 and n2 has a scope of within the. Only a global variable can have a scope throughout the program. Now, okay, now tell me, how should I return the value? How should I return the value? Can I just return the value as it is? Can I just return two values simultaneously? Can I say return n1 comma n2? Can I say return n1 comma n2? No, not at all. You can only return one value at a time. So what I can do is I can just directly say a printf format specify d space format specify d comma n1 comma n2. It's just swapped. Run this. But the problem is I just don't want to display here. But I did not ask you to change the value of n1 and n2 here, but I asked to change the value of n1 and n2 here. So there are actually four variables. So in the stacked memory, not only these two variables were created, but these two variables was also created. So pass by value will not allow the access, or the I cannot alter the variable of the main function n1 and n2 from another function. So this is the scope of the variable. We cannot do that. See, you have to be thorough with the scopes of the variable. Now, dealing with scope, for example, if I did not have any n1 and n2, let's say, if I do not have n1 and n2 here, and I do not have n1 and n2 here, okay, fine. And imagine these n2 and n1s were not created here, but rather it was created in the global function integer n1 comma n2. Imagine integer n1 comma n2. Now if I run this, okay, If I run this after calling the swap function, if I print format specify d space format specify d comma n1 comma n2, run this, and 510, are they swapped? Of course, because totally there are only one variable created, n1 and n2 in the global scope. So any alteration below those declaration of in any function will affect these n1 and n2, will affect these n1 and 2. Okay, but now can you tell me the, okay, now integer n1 comma n2. Now people, if I give 5 and 10, can you tell me the output for this? Okay, let me ask you. Imagine if the input is 5 and 10 now. Here already an n1 and n2 is created in the global variable. Okay, now tell me, if I give 5 and 10 as my new input, what do you think my output will be? Just look at this program. Just look at this program. If my input is 5 and 10, if my input is 5 and 10, tell me what will be my output. So what do you think my output will be? So I asked a question, and I suppose everybody saw it. So what do you think? What do you think the answer for that is? People, I suppose everybody are listening, right? So this is a program. This is a program. And tell me, what do you think the answer? What do you think the answer of this is? Carefully see, look at it. You have global variables as well as local variables inside. And now for this particular program, what will be my output? They will not be swapped. And if I run this 510, and as a result you get 510, because see, this is where the scope lies in. Okay, let me give you some examples of it. Okay, I'm not going to use a swap function for now. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so integer a or main function. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so integer a, and then a equals to, let's say, 50, and then open a block, integer a equals to 100, and then printf format specify d, and then slash n comma a, and then printf format specify d comma a. So what do you think the output of this particular program is? So what do you think the output of this particular program is? So do you think I'll have an error because I'm doing redeclaration in the same function, main function, or do you think I'll get an output for it? Even though it is in the same function, do you think the output will be the same, or you will have an error, or you have different output? It is 510. Okay, I mean, sorry, for this program. 100, 100. Okay. What about the others? Okay. Now, okay, 150. Now let me run this. As you can see, you have got 150. So when the compiler reads this line, when the processor traces its origin, when this A is printed, now what the processor will do, it will go to the stack in search of memory. As you can see, the nearest, the recently created variable, and there are two variables of same name under the stack. So in this block of visibility of scope, this A will be available. So when the origin is searched, this A will be taken as the source. Whereas in the outer block, in the outer block of this particular block, when A is displayed, it will be retrieved the data will be retrieved from this outer variable. Okay, now in case, okay, if I block this, as you can see, both of them will give you 50 and 50 simultaneously. Both of them will give you 50 and 50 simultaneously, because both of them, when this A is being, when it's displayed, first it will search for the availability in its own block. If it is not available, it will go and search in its outer block. Okay, and if I run this, both of them will give you 50. But what if I allow this statement and if I remove this statement? Now tell me the output for this. Give me the output for this. Give me the output for this. Let's see. So what do you think the output for the problem which I showed you now? Okay, Riaz, you said it's error, and why or what error will you get? It's close, you are correct. And the error I will get here is that the variable A is undeclared. It clearly says that. So in search of A, always remember, it will not search within the block of it. The visibility of the visibility of the variable A will be gone the moment it's come out. So first the origin of A will be searched in its own block, and you will get an error that A is undeclared. So same goes with the function. So when I create a function like this, okay, in that case, when I create a function like this, that is the reason I told you, if I have a function and when I created it and I cannot directly access it, if I have function, I should have a local variable. You will not be given any access because the scope of these two are different. But in case if I have a global variable here, integer A equals 200, or imagine just A, here I'm not giving any value at all. Okay, and here I'm not giving any value. Okay, and here I'm just directly printing printf format specified d, okay, slash n comma a. Now tell me, for I'm asking this question for a reason. What do you think the output of the program will be? So this is why even storage classes plays an important role here. So that's why storage classes plays an important role. So what do you think the output of this particular program is? Okay, so now I suppose people are answering it. So what do you think the output is? Okay, so now some of you and few of you are telling that garbage value will be printed. But according to the storage classes, you will not get garbage values, not in every variable. Let me display it. As you can see, only the first variable got garbage and the others were given as 0. And the reason is very simple. Because when a variable is created inside a block, when the variable is created inside the block of the memory, okay, so when a variable is created inside a block, by default the storage class is automatic. It is an automatic variable. So the keyword is auto. So by default, the storage class, even if you don't mention, by default it is auto. So the default value of an automatic variable is garbage value. Whereas a default, okay, whereas let's say, so as I said just now, an automatic variable by default will have garbage value. In that case, a by default gives you 0. So can I, if I convert this to auto, if I convert this to auto, will I now get every variable? Okay, will I now get every value as garbage values? Okay, will I get every value as a garbage values, because now I've converted that particular global variable as auto. Now what do you think my output will be? So what do you think my output will be? So I suppose you must have think about it. So 0. Now everybody are still okay. Some of you are giving zeros. But the problem is that you have to understand what will happen is that error will occur. The reason is this variable cannot be changed as automatic. This variable cannot be changed as automatic. See, that is why, okay, let's talk about, okay, in that case, when you talk about storage classes, okay, so we have automatic, we have, let's say, we have static, and the variable which is created globally by default will be a static variable. And simultaneously, you have something called register, and then we have something called extern. Okay. So the first thing, talking about the storage classes, the behaviors. Why storage class for a variable? Why? Why a storage class? Okay, now focus. So what is automatic? What is the first thing which determines between storage classes is their scope. And what else is important for us to look into? The default value. The default value. And what else we have to look into seriously? That is where the storage, that is why they call it storage classes, the storage place of it. And what are the other things we have to look closely? The lifespan. The lifespan is very important. The lifespan of the variable. And why lifespan of the variable is very important? First, let me start with a small example. Now, imagine I have a function. Imagine a function. Okay. As I said, let me. If I have auto, by default it is auto. If even if you mention it, no use of it. Auto integer a equals to 10. Okay, or a plus or equals to 10, let's say, or printf format specified d slash n, okay, comma a plus plus. I have given a plus plus. Now imagine if I call the function thrice. Okay, if I call the function thrice, okay, tell me what will be my output. If I call this function thrice, tell me what will be my output, people. Okay, let me hide this. Please give your comment. What will be my output? So what do you think my output will be? So thrice I'm calling the function, by default it is automatic. So what do you think? What do you think about the output is? People go on. 111111. But actually it is post increment. So as it is post increment, you will have 10, 10, 10. Every time when the function is being called, the variable is declared, and then when come out allocated, and then deallocated, allocated, deallocated, allocated, deallocated. Correct? But in case if I give static, what is the use of static? Now what do you think the output is? Now what do you think the output is? The advantage of what when you have it as a global variable, the advantage is that you cannot redeclare a global variable. For example, when you sorry, I had this as okay, sorry, take this A out. Anyway, that will not be used. Take that A out. So what is the advantage I had is that when you create a variable in a global declaration, you cannot redeclare it because you cannot in the scope you cannot redeclare a variable, right? So only once in the whole program a static variable will be allocated with a memory. So when you declare static integer, okay, let me see how many of you have given three different garbage ones, 10, 11, 12. Yes. So this is where it makes difference. Why? Because a static variable throughout the program, it will be allocated only once. The memory allocation will happen only once. For the first time when the function is called, A will be allocated as 10. And the next time it is being called again, it will not give you 10 again, but rather 10 is already there in the storage. A plus plus will be 11 and 12 respectively. And now if I run this, as you can see, the memory is being permanently stored. So one time declaration. So from this, what all we can understand is that an auto variable scope is nothing but within the block scope, whereas a default value of a variable here is garbage value or junk value, whereas storage here it is random access memory, and the lifespan is within the block. A variable will be allocated and deallocated when the block survives. It is based dependent on completely the lifespan of the block, the function, or we can call it as function. What about static? The scope is not block. The scope, even though yes, the availability of the variable is throughout the block only. Okay, but as you can see here, okay, now focus. Now now focus. What is the default value? Here it is 0. And what about storage? It is random access memory only. But the lifespan is throughout. It is function, or we can say until the program is there, program scope. The lifespan, it depends on the program. It depends on the program. So even the scope can be sometimes called as a program scope. Okay, what about register? What is register used for? What is register used for? Now we come across variables. We come across variables and some variables which are highly used, for example looping statements, which are used in the looping statements. For that we can use the register storage class, a variable which is frequently being used. And what is the reason for it? Okay, now focus. Okay, why do we use register? To increase the speed of accessing the variable. What do you mean by that? The meaning of it is, let's put it this way. Now you have a normal variable, okay, created under integer a. As you know, the storage is in random access memory. So you have a for loop which is running, okay, while of one constantly, okay, and you say printf, okay, you say format specify d comma a. Now focus. What happens is that the processor, whenever the loop runs, the processor, okay, will go and search for the source of a from the random access memory. So the instructions, what happens? We are asking what is a, the processor will go fetch what is a from RAM, and it will give it back to us, and we will display it. This instruction will happen frequently because it's in a loop. It happens frequently. You request for it, the processor acts and gives back the value. So it happens and it keeps on happening. And 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 what happens? See, that is the reason. Even though your program, let's say, why register? Now if I create this variable under register type, now what happens is that the variable's location, rather than in the random access memory, now it will be stored in the processor itself. What is the advantage of this? what is the advantage of this is that when you're requesting the value for a, the variable, the processor need not fetch the value of a from random access memory, but rather the storage, the source of a is already present in the processor, so the fetching process will be faster. And one more thing is that when a variable is created in register storage, you cannot request, you cannot see it is a restricted area. Okay, unlike RAM. So ROM, read-only memory, can be easily accessed, and RAM can be accessed easily by not directly by the user but from the processor. But accessing processor is not an easy job. And when I try to print the address of variable A, it will not allow me. Simply, it will not allow me. It will not allow me. See, because it says clearly that you are requesting the address of A, which is a register variable, which is inside the processor. You may have a thought, okay, why not? Why not? We have every variables created in register so that the program will be comparatively faster. The problem is the size allocated is very, very low. I think to my thought, previously it was around the older versions, processors were giving around 64 kb of size, which is not even a good area. But the advanced, the processors and RAM, see, that is the reason RAM is everything. I mean, processor is everything. That is why you take a game, and where is the source file of a game? You talk about PUBG or Call of Duty. Where is the source file? It's in read-only memory, the internal memory. Okay, the internal memory or the external memory, both are called as read-only memory in a mobile system. We talk about system, right? Okay, now focus. But when you run the game, the application, what happens? The program is brought into random access memory. The program is brought into random access memory. And when I'm playing the game, okay, let's say when I press the button fire, what happens? The moment you press the button fire, the request for the process of fire button is being given to the processor. Now the processor will fetch the data. Okay, the user has pressed the button fire, the response. Now I have to give back the response. Now what happens? The bullet is being fired from the gun. That is the after effect of it. So processor plays a crucial role in this. Okay, so that is the reason, even though you have much bigger RAM, it is not at all important, because for a mobile application 4 GB RAM is enough based on the current scenario I'm talking about. So more than 4 GB RAM, I would not say it is a bad. It is of course a good improvement, but not the improvement you see in a processor. For example, you talk about A14 or you talk about A12 or A13 Bionic chip. Even though the iPhone has around 4 GB or 3 GB of RAM, they run the application very smoothly compared to Snapdragon 845 with an 8 GB RAM, because of the processor, the faster rate, the clock speed, okay, which plays a crucial role. Okay, so I would not say RAM, increasing your RAM is a good thing, but up to an extent you will not find the improvement rate. The vast improvement rate will not be compared to as a processor. So you see the difference between Snapdragon 845 55. It's a much, it's a very big jump. And from 855 to 855 plus, not a big jump, but from 855 plus to 865, it is a vast jump. So processor is highly important as well as RAM, but processor ultimately plays a major role here. Okay, now moving on. Okay, so any questions related to, sorry, okay, so any other questions related to today's content, please post your questions. As said, we will see the problems based on hackathon tomorrow exclusively in the session. And see, there are only 74 viewers. After the attendance, they all ran away, but the request I got, more than 100 people have requested for hackathon problems. See, Aishwarya, that is not a problem, but I would request everyone. See, I'm just telling this. If you're attending the service batch session in the morning, do not, if the product batch students, you're attending the service batch session in the morning, please don't punch in your attendance. The problem is that you'll have even the timestamp at what time a product batch student gave it. So in case if the management is not happy about it, if one or two or three they will accept it. But for a morning we got around all the product batch students, 70% of product batch students were present in that particular session, which leads to definitely they'll be taking an action. I do not know, but I'm requesting everyone, please, in the service batch, please do not give your attendance. I'll inform, and from tomorrow onwards, please try to avoid it, because unlike last time we had two links, but from now onwards we'll be creating only one link for service and product. Okay, so while you're selecting the drop down of service and product, please, I'm requesting everyone, please do not give your attendance for product batch. You give it in the afternoon session, and same goes for service batch students. Okay. So if you have any questions of the scope of the variables or content related to content related to pass by value, please post your questions. I hope everyone gave your attendance for today. Okay. And one more thing is, please, every day you have task of completing your MySlate portal. Please don't forget that. Okay. Every day you have task for completing your MySlate portal side by side. So we should start solving. I'll tell you from where we have to start. Just a moment, please. Okay. So please don't forget to complete it, because they have given a deadline for every particular topics. Okay. So at last, for St. Joseph product batch, where did we leave the? I think it is for them we completed level 2, level 3. Okay. So we have to solve the problems in level 3 as well. Okay. We have to solve the problems in level 3, and then we have to step into, yes. So starting from module number 5, that is, yes. So we complete number crunching patterns, and we'll start from problem solving, function and arrays. So tomorrow we will complete these particular, that is problem solving. Okay. And then moving on to functions, and then moving on to arrays as well. Okay. So we have a lot of things to do tomorrow. Okay. So as well as we have to complete. Okay. Riaz asked a question, what do you mean by pass by reference? Actually, in C programming language, we don't have pass by reference. Okay, so that will be your tomorrow's content. Don't worry, Riaz. Actually, pass by reference is it's a variable which is created like this. Okay, so I cannot run this in .c file, but rather I can run this in a .c++. But I'm just showing you integer. Okay, for example, if I say a equals to 10, comma, ampersand, okay, this is b, reference b equals to a. This is called a reference variable. You know what is the meaning of this? Now both a and b are the name of the same address. So b is a reference variable for the same address. To prove, say printf format specify id, comma, address of a, comma, address of b. Both of them, okay, both of them are the names of the same address. I told you I cannot run this in just a minute, because call by reference is not available in okay, just demo.cpp. Yes. Okay, paste it. But as GCC compiler integrated, I can use printf. Don't worry about that. I can use printf instead of cout or cn. And now if I run this, as you can see, both a and b are the names of the same address, because that is variable, right? Variable is the name of this address. So the size of both a and b together is 4 bytes. Both a and b are pointing. Are the name of the same address. So this is a reference variable. Okay, you will see about that in tomorrow class, extensively. Okay, but Notish, I'm sorry, the link is switched off. And the other problem is that we should not, apart from the given timing, we should not share the attendance again. Okay, because your management as well as my manager, everyone has access to that particular file. And if you are giving your attendance now, the timestamp also will be given. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Nagarajan, we shall start from level 2. Yes. Okay, so I think I've come to the wrong thing. Instead of level 0, yes, I should have come to level 4. Instead of that, I came to level, yes, level 2 will start from problem solving. Okay, from here. Got it. So for product batch students, you can skip level 0 and level 1 and you can start from level 2. Nagarajan, is your doubt clear? You should start from level 2. Okay. And in that you have to do those modules, not level 0. Only on your based on his whole interest, you can solve level 0 and level 1. But that is for service batch. For product batch, you shall start from level 2. Okay. So we will solve some problems in level 2. Okay, tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Okay, so did you, Riaz? I did not give you an extensive clarification of pass by reference, but tomorrow that is your part. Don't worry about it. So I think tomorrow's a day after tomorrow, we will completely have session separately for pass by reference. Got it, Riaz? Fine. Because if I tell you now, no, it's not required because that takes a long time. Is that fine for everyone? Okay. So thank you so much for today's class. And tomorrow, as said, okay, inform everyone. Please tell them to be online for this session. And the morning they should not give product batch attendance. And tomorrow, as I said, hackathon problems will be solved. Okay, please tell everyone and not to give their attendance in the morning. Product batch students should not give their attendance in the morning class, and vice versa. Service batch should not give their attendance in the product batch, because anyway, if you even give, the timestamp will be present. Okay, it's an unnecessary issue. Okay, so thank you so much. We will wrap up the session for today and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. So is there any other clarifications you have?